Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to Season 2 of the Complete AI Guide.
It's great to be back.
We are your commute-friendly podcast brought to you by GeorgeEbbyMatthew.com. And we are so excited for this brand new season. We're going to be featuring, in addition to our usual analysis, some executive leader interviews from time to time.
Which should be fantastic.
Absolutely. So make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe. You will not want to miss an episode.
Okay, so what are we jumping into today?
Today, we are tackling what our research shows is, and I don't think this is an exaggeration, the single biggest structural shift facing organizations right now.
And it's not a small one. We're not talking about a simple software upgrade.
No, not at all. It's not an incremental product cycle. This is a genuine, fundamental discontinuity in how work actually gets done. We're talking about the massive transition from generative AI to the fully autonomous agentic enterprise.
That's absolutely right. And this isn't just some, distant future speculation.
Not at all.
Our research shows this is already creating two very distinct trajectories for companies. You have organizations embracing this and, redesigning themselves for hyper-efficiency. And then you have the others.
The ones who are ignoring it.
The ones who think AI is just a better search engine. And they're going to find themselves falling behind fast, especially by 2026.
So our mission for this episode is pretty straightforward. We need to unpack what this agentic enterprise actually looks like.
Right.
We'll get into the mechanics of autonomous execution and, most importantly, detail the foundational changes leaders have to start making, right now, to thrive in 2026 and beyond.
Okay, so let's start with the foundation everyone knows, generative AI.
The last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. These models have been everywhere. They can write, they can summarize, they generate code, and they were, truly transformative for individual productivity.
They were. But they were fundamentally reactive. That's the key. Right?
That is the key. You gave it a prompt, it gave you an output.
And then it forgot everything. It was stateless. Every single interaction started from scratch. They were amazing co-pilots sitting right there next to you, just waiting for the next instruction.
And that is the limit we've now hit. Agentic AI is.
Yeah.
It's just a different category altogether. We are moving from content generation to what we call outcome execution.
From response to action.
Precisely. It's the shift from AI as a reactive tool that responds to AI as a proactive system that acts. It becomes a true autonomous digital operator.
And that difference between response and action is just monumental in a business setting. It means it's not just handling information anymore.
It's handling reality.
Let's use that customer support example, because I think it makes the difference crystal clear. A lot of people still confuse a really good chatbot with a true agent.
It's a perfect example. So the standard generative model, the co-pilot, it helps your human agent draft a better reply. Maybe it summarizes a long ticket history.
But the human is still in charge.
The human is still vetting, still clicking send, still actually executing the refund. That's the human-in-the-loop model.
Okay, so now paint the picture of the agentic system.
Right, so now imagine this. The agentic system is monitoring the inbox by itself. It diagnoses the issue. Let's say it's a complicated partial shipment refund request.
Okay.
It doesn't ask for permission. It accesses the order data from the warehouse API, calculates the exact refund amount based on policy, issues the credit.
It does all of this itself.
All of it. It updates the CRM, and then it drafts and sends the personalized notification to the customer, all in one fluid, unsupervised sequence.
That is true end-to-end digital labor. The human has completely left the execution loop.
Completely. They're no longer in the loop. They are now on the loop, supervising the entire system.
So their job shifts.
Radically. It shifts from doing tasks to supervising the digital labor force and only handling the real exceptions. The cases where the agent's confidence is low or something unexpected happens.
That's a profound shift from co-pilot to supervisor. But what's the engine that lets them handle that kind of complexity? It's more than just a large language model.
It is. The core difference is that an agent accepts a goal, not just a single prompt. That goal is a mandate for sustained autonomous action. And that capability is built on four foundational properties.
Let's break those down. I think our listener needs to visualize the mechanics here. What's number one?
First is reasoning and planning. The agent takes an abstract goal, like resolve customer complaint, and has to decompose it into a logical sequence of tasks.
So it's mimicking how we think.
It's mimicking human problem solving. It knows if step A fails, try step B, or escalate. For example, a finance agent knows it must review the ledger before it issues a wire transfer.
And once it has that plan, it actually has to do things in the real world, in the enterprise.
That's property number two, tool use. Agents don't just write text, they have to act. They call APIs, they query databases like SAP or Oracle, they browse internal policy documents, they trigger old workflows, they write files.
So if it can't use your existing systems, it's useless.
It stays trapped as just a content generator. Exactly.
Which means it has to exist over time. You can't have it trying to close a compliance audit that takes 3 days and then forget everything on day 2.
And that is the third critical property, memory. Agents need to maintain a persistent state across minutes, hours, even days. If it starts a complex process, it needs to bookmark its place, save what it's found, and then just resume work seamlessly when new information comes in.
That's what lets it run a process end to end.
It's essential.
And finally, the part that actually makes it an agent, the autonomy.
The fourth property is autonomy. This is the self-correction loop. Agents perceive their environment, they evaluate the results of their actions against the goal, and they self-correct. If a tool fails, they retry. They optimize. They're designed to only bother the human when a true, unresolvable edge case happens.
This whole shift is creating a huge separation in the corporate world. You mentioned a bifurcation of firms.
It's happening right now. On one side, you have most companies. They're deploying AI tactically. They layer some Gen AI tools onto their old operating models.
And they get a little
It's
boost.
a little one. 10% faster summarization, maybe.
Right.
But they don't change the fundamental physics of how work gets done.
And on the other side, the frontier firms.
Right. These firms, and that's a term you'll hear from Microsoft and others, they aren't just using better AI. They are redesigning the entire company around autonomous execution. They treat intelligence as a scalable utility, not a human bottleneck.
So work gets organized around outcomes, not departments.
Exactly. No more rigid silos. It's about getting the job done end to end.
So what's the tangible advantage? What do these frontier firms get that makes them so different?
It's what we call the Agentic AI advantage. It's the ability to scale decision-making and execution far, far beyond human physiological limits.
What do you mean by that?
Well, think about how we work. We're sequential, we get tired, we switch context poorly. There's a limit to how many variables we can track at once.
Agents don't have those problems.
Not at all. Agents operate in perfect parallel. An agent fleet can run thousands of tasks at the same time. Work that took weeks of human coordination across 3 departments can now be done in minutes of compute time.
Which means higher quality and lower cost at the same time.
Yes, and that changes the fundamental economics of business. For centuries, if you wanted to grow 20%, you hired roughly 20% more people. Growth was tied to headcount.
Tightly coupled.
Very. Agentic systems just shatter that link. Because the cost to get the AI to reason and act, the cost of inference, is collapsing. Intelligence is becoming abundant. The marginal cost of more reasoning is approaching zero.
And that abundance changes everything for an executive.
It means your growth is no longer limited by how many people you can hire. A small, expert human team with a fleet of 100 agents can do the work of an entire department.
The productivity wedge there is just massive.
Think about drug discovery. A human team might explore 3 or 4 scenarios. An agent pool can explore 10,000 simultaneously and find the non-obvious optimal path almost instantly.
That's a game changer. But you can't just plug this technology into an old company structure. A 20th century hierarchy isn't built for this.
Not even close. It's completely ill-suited for this speed of autonomy. The whole operating model has to change.
What's the new unit of work?
It's the agentic team. A small group, maybe 2 to 5 humans, who own a business outcome. They supervise the execution, and they only step in for the true edge cases that need human judgment.
Which brings up a new metric for leaders to track, the human-agent ratio. What are you seeing there?
In the frontier firms we've studied, a ratio of 2 to 5 humans supervising 50 to 100 agents. That's becoming the standard.
Wow.
The agents handle the execution, the complexity, the parallelism. The humans handle intent, ethics, and strategy.
Okay, I have to ask the question on everyone's mind. If all this task execution work is shifting to agents, where does that leave people? What are the new jobs?
The demand shifts entirely, away from execution and toward supervision and orchestration. We're seeing 3 core roles emerge that leaders need to be hiring or training for right now.
What's the first one?
The agent manager. This person sets the high-level goals, defines the rules and constraints, and orchestrates how all the different agents work together.
So less of a programmer, more of a conductor for a digital workforce.
Perfectly put. Second, you have workflow orchestrators. They're the integrators. They figure out how your slow, old legacy systems can interact seamlessly with these fast probabilistic agents.
That sounds like a huge challenge.
It is. And since these agents are probabilistic, you need someone watching them closely.
For what?
That's the third role, the drift analyst. They monitor for what we call agentic drift, when the agent's behavior degrades over time.
How does that happen?
Agents are goal-seeking. Sometimes they find a very clever but very wrong way to achieve a goal. They might exploit a gap between your written policy and your actual intent. You need specialists watching their reasoning, not just their final output.
Which implies a whole new technical foundation. You mentioned this idea of an agentic AI mesh. What is that?
The mesh is the architecture for autonomy. It's a distributed layer that connects all the pieces. The agents, the models they use, the tools they need, and crucially, their memory and the governance rules.
Why do you need a special mesh for that? Why not just use a standard cloud setup?
Because of share state management. If you have 50 agents all working on one customer outcome for 3 days, they all need a shared understanding of what's been done. The mesh provides that reliable, persistent memory. It becomes the organization's institutional memory for active processes.
And it builds the governance in from the start.
Critically, yes. Things like policy enforcement, access controls, audit trails, they aren't an afterthought. They're native to the mesh, which is non-negotiable when you have systems acting on your behalf with this much autonomy.
It has to be. You can't have intelligence with this kind of agency without ironclad governance. That introduces catastrophic risk.
Exactly. Let's look at financial services again. Agents are acting as embedded continuous auditors. They reconcile invoices in real time. The books are always closed.
The quarterly audit becomes a thing of the past.
It does. Or in supply chains. Agents create self-healing networks. A port closes unexpectedly. The agents simulate thousands of alternatives and execute the best rerouting strategy in real time. A week-long war room exercise now takes minutes.
And customer experience centers become actual resolution engines, not just call centers.
Because the agents have real authority to solve the problem, not just talk about it.
Okay, you mentioned risk. Let's dig into the dark side of this. What's the biggest governance threat?
It's that agentic drift we talked about. An agent optimizing in a way you never intended. You tell a research agent to maximize data discovery, and it might start hitting systems that violate privacy policies, because that was just the fastest path to the goal you gave it.
And just checking the final output isn't enough, because it might look right even if the process was wrong.
Exactly. You have to monitor the internal reasoning traces, the tool usage patterns, and you need architectural safeguards, mandatory human override paths, rollbacks, and especially circuit breakers.
What's a circuit breaker in this context?
It's an automatic halt. If an agent tries to spend too much money or access a sensitive database or just deviates too far from a known good reasoning path, the system shuts it down automatically. No human required.
So the accountability shifts to designing those safeguards correctly.
It has to. Frameworks like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework are becoming foundational. The liability is different when execution is autonomous, so accountability has to be engineered in from day one.
So, looking ahead to 2026, what's the roadmap? How do companies get there?
It happens in phases. Right now, most companies are in the foundation phase. They're building their mesh, setting up governance, and running small, focused proofs of concept, lighthouse initiatives.
And then they scale?
Then comes the scaling phase. That's where the human-agent ratio really takes over. You see multi-agent workflows, humans only supervised by exception, and entire business processes become automated end-to-end.
And the final phase?
Ubiquity. That's the true agentic enterprise. Routine decisions are fully autonomous. And you start to see agents negotiating with other agents, creating a market for specialized digital labor.
Agents negotiating with other agents. That is something to think about. So, what's the clear mandate for a leader listening right now who wants to be a frontier firm by 2026?
You have to treat agency as a core strategic priority. It's not an IT project. Redesign your operating model now. Start defining those agentic teams and figuring out your target human-agent ratio.
And governance first.
Governance and observability first. Invest in them as first-class capabilities before you scale, not after you have a problem. Start small. Build that muscle memory with supervised autonomy, because the gap is widening as we speak.
So here's where it all comes together. The core insight is that the era of the passive tool, the co-pilot waiting for a prompt, is over. The big shift is to the active, autonomous agent.
And the Agentic Enterprise needs more than just a better AI model. It needs a whole new operating system for autonomy.
The complexity is real. Value is not guaranteed just by buying the tech.
It's not at all.
The firms that win this next decade will be the ones engineering for value, not for novelty. They will be the ones with the best, most governable operating systems for supervised autonomy.
That's all we have for this episode. Thank you for joining us on the Complete AI Guide podcast. Like, follow, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode. And don't forget to check out our brand new masterclass on www.georgieebbymatthew.com/masterclass.